Now you're recording. Hi, I'm Michael, and this is my garden. It's part of it. Got a big tree right here. When we first got this thing, it had like 2 leaves on it, and we've been watering it on a daily / bi-daily basis. Depending on the temperature, it gets water every day or every other day. And we just put in some fertilizer last week, and as you can see, it's gotten a whole lot bigger, and it's even got some more leaves coming out the top right here. But this is a fig tree, and we've got in that small little planted pot right now. This is my wonder of science, my wonder plant. It's a bell pepper plant, and every time this thing dies, it always comes right back to life. It's crazy. Every single one of these branches right here have all been stripped of their leaves or something. That's why we've got this gate on it, is because I thought animals were eating it. Turns out our dog was eating the leaves off of it. So this thing's been alive for, that's Sir Henry.
Our dog.
This thing's been alive for over a year since we moved in here, and it's one of the first things we ever planted, and it's still going strong. And then next we've got our little patch right here, which again we just put some fresh fertilizer down on it so that it can get all the nutrients that it needs. And we've got some tomato plants that we just planted, the seeds, and then these are from the last time. They're carrots growing up, these little tiny ones. These are carrots growing up. The bigger ones are the tomatoes. So we thought that the carrots were done. We were only able to harvest like, what, 4 of them?
No, we harvested about 20. We had about 20.
No, we were only able to harvest like 4 of them,
Oh.
because only like 4 of them really grew.
Yeah.
So there's that. And if you come around here, around the corner,
What he's saying is he ate 4.
I bought some flowers for Lori from the store. These poor little guys right here, and I planted them instead of putting them in a vase, because if they can take root or drop seeds, then more will grow.
You're crazy.
And then the next, we've got the onion.
So it's an experiment.
Yeah. But apparently I have a green thumb, and I'm really good at making things grow, so. This is an onion that we found in our onion bag. We bought it from the store, and it started growing a leaf on it. So I brought it outside and planted it. And from that one leaf, we've got like, what, 10 or 15 more stem leaf things on here coming out. So it's doing pretty good. For everything out here just got fresh fertilizer last week, last weekend. We've got beans. What kind of beans are these? Sweet peas and
Sweet peas
and green beans?
and green beans.
Sweet peas and green beans. We don't know which is which yet, because both were planted out here, but it's basically the same thing. So we've got sweet peas and green beans.
And in the bag.
And in the back, what is that?
Green beans.
Green beans in the back.
No, sweet peas.
Okay, sweet peas, whatever. Sweet peas and green beans all over this thing right here. Fresh fertilizer and everything. When we went to the store, we got some of the seeds that we planted were growing, so we bought starter plants to get them going. And so we've got a starter plant for, we just randomly saw this. It's a grapevine. We randomly saw this at the Home Depot and decided to get it. So I put it up here up against the fence. I'm pretty sure this is deep enough for the roots, and if it's not deep enough, it's definitely wide enough for the roots to spread out everywhere. And this, every time I see the little vine starting to grow on it, I like to take it and put it on the fence. That way it has something to cling to as it starts to grow. I'm trying to make it grow up the fence instead of just randomly out somewhere. So once it starts growing, I'll be able to move it to where I want it to go, because of these little threads right here, the little vines. So we've got, this is a new experiment that we're doing. We're planted the grapes and seeing how well they're going to grow here. And we've got our makeshift compost pile here, which we haven't ever really used for compost. I mean, we put crap in there, but it's not really decomposing like I'm hoping it to, so I gotta figure out something else for it. And then we've got our first big plant right here is the Husky Cherry Red Tomatoes. So we got a cherry tomato plant right here. And then we've got a Heinz Heirloom Tomatoes. And last we've got, we like I said, we planted seeds out here, but nothing's been popping up like we were hoping it would, so we planted other stuff. Over here we had planted, what are those called? Cantaloupes, and now we've got watermelons in here. So this is a watermelon plant. It's got 3 vines coming off of it. So hopefully we'll get something. Last year we planted a watermelon and we didn't get jack.
We got flowers.
But nothing grew.
Over here last season, a couple months, we were growing corn, and the corn grew. So we think the reason why when we reseeded, we pulled out all the corn and we put new seed down, all the nitrogen from the corn came out, and so we had to redo our yard.
Yeah, we put fertilizer down and made everything all nice and pretty. So over here, what we planted last year, we planted the Pac-Man broccoli.
Oh, we got a lot of...
Which, that broccoli took off. It was doing like great. I don't know what this is that's growing out of here. I'm not sure if it's broccoli or not, but we've got something growing right here. I'm hoping it's broccoli. I gotta look at the starter seeds to see what that is. What was this one?
Cucumber.
Oh yeah. This next plant is the cucumbers. We planted cucumbers and some kind of pickled cucumbers over here, but nothing was growing, so we bought the plant, and the plant's doing just fine. Before we get to this monstrosity right here, this is our celery, which the tag broke on.
That's my bad.
This is celery from last year. What we did was I cut the stalks and left the roots, and they regrew. Now we've tied them off a little bit right here. I'm gonna have to loosen these and redo them eventually, but to keep them straight up instead of falling over into the dirt, we've put these little tie things on here. These green things, they're right here. We put a tie on it so that everything stands up. You're too close. So we put ties on them so that they'll stand up instead of laying over onto the ground. And this was our Big Daddy one last season. This was our Big Daddy one, and it's our Big Daddy one again to this season too. And I think the reason for that is this my bush right here is overgrown and kind of shading everything. Now this is my personal favorite. I probably shouldn't have one, but we found a potato in our potato bag, and when we had it in our little potato holder, it had what was growing out of it?
Plant.
Little green vine was growing out of it. It wasn't one of the roots, it was the actual plant coming out of it. So I was like, all right, we'll leave it there for a couple days. If it doesn't die, then again it keeps growing, then I'll take it outside and plant it. Well, it kept growing. So I brought it outside and I planted it. It was doing fine. It was like blooming and growing before we even put fertilizer on it. So I put some fertilizer on it to see how it's doing. And these are kind of hard to see, but this little stem, this little stick right here, that represents one of the potatoes. It's kind of come out. I gotta bury it again, but here's one potato that's come off of it, which I gotta bury again. I'll do a better job of that later. And we've got another one back here because it's a root system, so everything's going underground and spreading out. So there's another little stem right here that shows me where another potato is, and it's got another little one. It's about this big. So.
And so we believe that because of this huge potato plant that's growing for 3 months.
No, it's only been growing for like a month.
About a month.
Yeah.
And so we think that has taken all of our killed all of our cucumber and pickles that we were trying to grow in this area.
No, I don't think it killed it. Everything we grew last season has taken a lot of the nutrients out. We just put the fertilizer in. That'll start making things pop up like crazy because of that fertilizer. But I read online that these things right here, every time you see a flowering part, this indicates that there's 1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potatoes underground somewhere. So I know we have 3 potatoes. I haven't found the 3rd one yet, but I found 2 of them. And this thing is just crazy big. And I don't know why. But I know it's growing really well.
So the root is thick, as you can see.
There's 3 different stalks growing off of it. So those 3 different stalks have 3 different root systems going down below. And so we're gonna have 3 potatoes somewhere. So as soon as it's time to uproot this and find our potatoes underground, I'll have to dig up like almost everything around here and follow those thick roots, because those thick roots will lead you right to where the potatoes are growing at. And then we'll plant more. Right after we pull it out, we'll plant some more. We'll aerate the ground and throw in some fertilizer and some fresh dirt and mix it up a little bit and aerate it, and then we'll probably wait, I don't know, like a week or so everything gets nice and composted in, and it'll be good. And that's our little garden.